Stars stretched across the void like shards of frozen fire, spilling their cold light across the endless darkness. Captain Elara Voss stood at the observation deck, her eyes tracing the impossible expanse beyond the ship's reinforced glass. The Odyssey, her vessel and home for the past 5 years, drifted at the precipice of known space, teetering on the edge of the universe itself. Every star, every nebula, seemed to whisper secrets of worlds yet unseen, of dangers unimagined. For centuries, explorers had pushed further into the black, but none had approached this region. Legends spoke of the Infinity Veil, a phenomenon that shimmered like a mirage in the void, beyond which lay knowledge that could bend reality, or annihilate those unprepared. Elara had chased rumors, old star maps, and fragments of intercepted transmissions, but now, finally, the veil called to her, not as a whisper, but a pulse that resonated through the ship's hull and into her chest. "Captain," Commander Ian Cade's voice broke the silence, tinged with unease. "The readings are unlike anything we've seen. Gravity fluctuations, temporal distortions, the sensors can barely process it." Elara turned, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the control panels. "Then all the more reason to see it for ourselves," she said, voice steady though excitement coursed through her veins like electricity. "We came here to explore the edge of infinity. If we hesitate now—" Her gaze returned to the abyss, to the faintly shimmering rift that twisted reality in ways her mind could scarcely comprehend. The crew moved with a quiet tension, each member aware that history would remember, or forget, their courage depending on what awaited them. Instruments beeped erratically, the displays flickering as if the universe itself protested their intrusion. Beyond the viewport, fragments of alien wreckage floated lazily, remnants of expeditions that had never returned, their stories lost to the void. A low hum filled the ship, vibrating through metal and bone alike. Elara pressed a hand to the glass, feeling the pulse as if it were alive. This was the moment she had trained for, dreamed of, and feared. The stars no longer seemed distant. They were close enough to touch, close enough to burn. Somewhere beyond that glittering edge lay truth, and perhaps danger, the kind that would leave no survivors. Yet the horizon beckoned, endless and intoxicating, and Elara knew she could not turn away. The Odyssey surged forward, engines humming, lights reflecting on the crew's determined faces. The edge of infinity awaited, and the first step into the unknown had been taken. The Infinity Veil shimmered ahead, a vast ribbon of light twisting through the darkness, impossibly thin in some places, yet stretching wider than any star system known. The Odyssey drifted closer, every instrument aboard screaming warnings in tones that made the hull vibrate. Commander Ian Cade hovered over the console, brows knitted, fingers dancing over controls as if a single wrong move could tear the ship apart. "Captain," he said, voice tight, "we should consider holding position. The anomaly's gravitational pull. It's fluctuating. Approaching could be catastrophic." Elara didn't flinch. Her eyes were fixed on the veil where colors she had no names for bled into one another, swirling in hypnotic patterns. "We've come this far, Ian. We were meant to see it, not sit safely on the edge while the universe unfolds beyond our reach." Around them, the crew whispered among themselves, tension thick in the recycled air. Some clutched their seats, others pressed against the observation deck, mesmerized by the impossible spectacle. Fragments of alien wreckage drifted in the veil's periphery, jagged metal twisted into shapes that mocked comprehension. It was a graveyard of curiosity and ambition, yet it also carried a strange, silent promise. As the Odyssey edged closer, the space around them began to warp. Stars bent, the IR light curving into impossible arcs. Time itself seemed to stutter, fleeting glimpses of moments not their own flashing across the viewport. A distant planet exploding, a figure walking on a frozen moon, an alien city collapsing into dust. The crew gasped, some recoiling, some unable to look away. Suddenly, a low hum rose from deep within the ship. The air seemed heavier, charged, alive. A flash of movement. One of the crew, Lieutenant Mara Venn, vanished before their eyes, leaving only a faint, glowing residue floating where she had stood. Screams erupted, panic rippling through the bridge, but Elara's voice cut through. "Focus! We can't let fear control us." She steadied herself, gripping the console, her mind racing. "This is what we came for. We face it or it swallows us without a trace." Rian's face paled, but he nodded. Instruments continued to flicker and fail, and the veil's light pulsed, as if aware of their presence, teasing, beckoning. Elara felt it in her bones. The infinity veil was alive, watching, testing. And yet she could not, would not, look away. The Odyssey pressed forward into the unknown, where reality itself seemed ready to unravel. Reality fractured around them. The Odyssey shuddered as if the ship itself were caught in a living storm. Time bent and twisted, moments looping in impossible sequences. Crew members whispered things they hadn't said yet, and some glimpsed visions of their own deaths before, blinking and finding themselves unharmed. Alarms rang erratically, displays flickering with symbols and patterns no one could decipher. "Captain, I don't understand it," stammered Engineer Solon, eyes wide as his hands passed through a console that no longer felt solid. "The ship, it's alive, or the veil is rewriting reality around us." Elara's jaw tightened. She gripped the railing, her gaze locked on the shimmering rift ahead. The infinity veil pulsed, colors shifting violently, and within the chaos, a colossal structure began to emerge, a shape massive beyond comprehension, dark and luminous, hovering at the heart of the rift. Its surface rippled like liquid starlight, and when it moved, space itself seemed to flow around it. "By the stars," whispered Rian, voice barely audible over the cacophony. The crew pressed against the observation deck glass, hearts pounding. The construct radiated intelligence, a presence that reached into their minds, probing, questioning, weighing. Each felt it differently. Some with awe, some with terror, but all understood the same truth. This was not just a structure, it was aware. A sudden vibration pulsed through the Odyssey, throwing crew members to the deck. The ship's AI relayed a single chilling message. "You are seen." Elara stepped forward, hand trembling as she reached toward the viewport. Images flashed in her mind, visions of civilizations rising and falling, knowledge too vast to comprehend, the very threads of existence unraveling and reforming. The construct communicated not with sound, but with thought, and it showed her the potential of what lay beyond, power to reshape reality, to grasp the universe's secrets, but at a cost no one could predict. "Captain," Rian's voice was trembling now. "We can't survive this, we shouldn't—" Elara shook her head. "We don't get to choose what exists out here, Rian. We only get to face it." She turned from the viewport, eyes blazing with resolve. The crew braced themselves as the Odyssey edged closer, every fiber of the ship strained against the veil's pull. In that moment, Elara understood the truth. The infinity veil was not a place. It was a test, and beyond it waited knowledge and danger intertwined, a choice that could either elevate them beyond imagination or erase them completely. The infinity veil convulsed around them, rippling violently as if angered by their presence. The colossal alien construct pulsed with awareness, probing their minds, weighing their choices, testing their resolve. On the Odyssey, the crew struggled to maintain focus as reality fractured further. Time skipped, gravity twisted, and the very fabric of the ship shivered under forces they could barely comprehend. "We can't hold it much longer," shouted Commander Rian Cade, gripping a console for support. Sparks flew and panels flickered, warning lights screaming in tandem with the ship's groaning hull. "If we don't leave, the veil will tear us apart." Elara's eyes remained locked on the alien intelligence, her heart pounding. She could see the possibilities it offered, knowledge beyond comprehension, the power to reshape worlds, answers to questions humanity had never dared ask. But she also saw the cost, the crew consumed, the ship obliterated, their minds unraveling into the void. The choice weighed on her like a gravity field stronger than any star. "We take what we can survive, or we leave," she whispered, voice trembling but steady. "There's no middle ground." A flash of movement caught her eye. Lieutenant Mara Ven's glowing residue had coalesced into a ghostly echo, a warning of what lay ahead. Elara knew then that some curiosity could never be tamed, some knowledge never claimed without sacrifice. With a deep breath, she issued the order. "Prepare for maximum thrust. We stabilize the rift long enough to escape. Everyone brace yourselves." The crew worked feverishly, rerouting power, reinforcing shields, and coordinating the engines. The Odyssey surged forward, trembling as if the universe itself were resisting their flight. The alien construct pulsed one final time, a wave of awareness that washed over the ship and crew. Visions of infinite stars, civilizations, and possibilities flared briefly in every mind, leaving them stunned, breathless, and forever changed. Then, with a roar of engines and a blinding surge of energy, the Odyssey shot away from the rift, leaving the infinity veil behind, stabilizing just long enough for them to survive. Hours later, they emerged back into familiar space, the stars calm and ordinary once more. The crew was shaken, haunted by the glimpses they had seen, the truths they had touched. Elara gazed out at the endless night, the faint shimmer of the veil still etched in her memory. Infinity had not been conquered, only glimpsed, and she knew deep in her soul that its edge would call again. The universe stretched on, endless and indifferent, but they had faced it. They had survived. And in the silence between the stars, a new chapter awaited.